Welcome to part 1 of the History of America series. In this episode, we explore how European explorers arrived in the New World and how the first American colonies were formed. From Columbus to the foundations of the 13 colonies, this is the beginning of the American story. In 1492, Christopher Columbus, sailing under the Spanish flag, reached the Caribbean islands. Although he believed he had found a new route to Asia, his voyage opened the door to the European exploration and colonization of the Americas. This moment marked the beginning of a new era in world history, with far-reaching consequences for both Europe and the native peoples of the Americas. After Columbus, Spain and Portugal became the dominant colonial powers in the Americas. Spain established vast territories in Central and South America, conquering the Aztec and Inca empires. Meanwhile, Portugal claimed Brazil through the Treaty of Tordesillas in 1494. These early empires were driven by the search for gold, land, and the spread of Christianity. In the early 1600s, the English, French, and Dutch began establishing colonies in North America. The English founded Jamestown in 1607 and later the Plymouth Colony. The French explored the Mississippi River and Canada, while the Dutch created New Amsterdam, which would later become New York. These European powers competed for territory, trade, and alliances with Native Americans. By the mid-1700s, the British had established 13 colonies along the Atlantic coast of North America. These colonies were divided into 3 regions: New England, Middle, and Southern colonies. They developed their own governments, economies, and cultures, but remained under British rule. Tensions would eventually rise, setting the stage for revolution. Life in the 13 colonies varied by region. In New England, people focused on fishing, shipbuilding, and small farms. In the South, large plantations relied on enslaved labor to grow tobacco and cotton. Family, religion, and community were central to colonial society. Education and town meetings were especially important in New England colonies. Each colony developed its own government, often modeled after British systems. They had elected assemblies, governors, and courts. In New England, town meetings allowed male landowners to vote and make laws. These local democratic practices laid the foundation for future American self-rule. However, the British Crown still held ultimate authority. The colonial economy was based on agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship. Southern colonies grew cash crops like tobacco and rice using enslaved labor. Northern colonies relied on shipbuilding, fishing, and trade. Major ports like Boston, New York, and Charleston became economic centers. Trade routes connected the colonies with Europe, Africa, and the Caribbean. By the mid-1700s, tensions between the colonies and Britain were growing. The British government imposed taxes such as the Stamp Act and Tea Act without colonial representation. Colonists responded with protests, boycotts, and events like the Boston Tea Party. The cry of "no taxation without representation" echoed across the colonies. This growing resistance set the stage for revolution. By the 1770s, the American colonies were on the edge of revolution. Clashes like the Boston Massacre and the Intolerable Acts increased anger toward British rule. In 1774, the First Continental Congress met to demand rights. As tensions escalated, war became inevitable. The stage was set for the American Revolution and the birth of a new nation.